Going live. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. It's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our featured guest today is Trishia Ethridge. Trishia Ethridge is a certified extreme execution coach because you have to execute if you want to make it. Well,
Amen.
helps people realize, know, and walk in the power that is already within them. She is passionate and enthusiastic about standing for people to find their own empowerment, their power within, utilizing the modern interpretation of Dr. William Marston's 4 quadrants of behavioral preferences. This results in you being more self-aware and knowing how to maximize your own potential. Tricia has over 10 years of experience caring for her mother who lived with Alzheimer's. Through studies and experience, she provides solutions to families and businesses on how to work through the challenges of dementia and enhance their quality of life for themselves and the ones experiencing dementia. She has been featured. She has been a featured guest on the radio shows Mix 95.7, Hot 97.3, a repeated guest on podcast Level Up, founder and CEO of Dementia Empowerment Educational Consulting, and soon to be author. So welcome, Miss Trishia.
Good morning, Viola. How are you doing today?
Good, good, good. So, we started with the DISC assessment. So tell us a little about who is Dr. William Marston and what are the 4 quadrants of behavior and the continuum of those traits?
William Morrison. Remember the lie detector test?
Yes. Uh-huh.
He is the one who was partially invented that lie detector test.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Remember when you used to watch the TV and you had Wonder Woman who had that truth belt?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
He was the one who created the actual idea.
Ah,
The
okay.
bionic one, because it's the truth belt, right? So
Right,
being
right,
the
right.
truth belt, okay, as well as making sure you're being honest and being clear and everything else. So he is that founder. So now he has also created the DISC assessment. So you have other people who have modernized that thought process. And now they have a DISC assessment or the flight assessment. So it helps you understand the power that's within you, because it's already there. We just need to be more self-aware, and then you can carry yourself differently when you truly know who you are.
That's true. That is so true. And it's definitely helped me in my coaching as well as in, outside of coaching as well in all the relationships that I've had. Now, share more on the decisive preference because the DISC is DISC, right?
Mhm.
The decisive preference for problem solving and getting results. So tell us about the D.
Okay. The D is just that. How do you like to handle problems and projects? Problems and projects, because in each different behavior style, your focus is different. But we have our 4 focus. So it's not like I'm just a D, I'm just a decisive. No, we're not. We all know that we go through each day having different type of personalities or behaviors throughout the day, right? So here, being a decisive person, you like to get things completed. You like to get them completed now. Okay. You may also be more demanding, or you may be more deliberate. But either way, you have a range. It's a continuum. So it's not that I'm just this. That's the key, because sometimes we get pigeonholed or put in a box that this is how you are, but that's not what's real. You are a combination of things. And when you realize you're a combination of things, you can pull out of the box what you need for the situation that you're in. So if you're decisive, then you're taking care of your project, you're making sure you're focused, you're determined, you're deliberate. Those are the different things of someone who has, and onward, everyone has it. It's just a matter of what level of intensity that you have it.
So do you think that it changes depending on the time period of your life? Because I used to be very introverted. Now that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
It modifies because it depends what's going on in your life. Usually if there's a big change, it could be from a career standpoint, it can be from an emotional standpoint, it could be from marriage to single, single to marriage. It could be whatever life modifications occurred, then we tend to modify. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so with that, you also depend on where you are, meaning if you're naturally one way or you're being more adaptive. It depends the situation that you're in, what comes out of you.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Now, what is the interactive, the I preference
Mhm.
for interacting with others and showing emotion?
Yes. How do I communicate with you in my natural state? Some people are more, let me be more quiet. I'm more calm. I'm more composed. Some people like me, a little bit more enthusiastic. I can't help it. That's just who I am. I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, calm down. So that you can be more focused, right? And that's the thing, being interactive, you have all that energy. Sometimes you hop. Oh, I'm going to go do this. That is such a great idea. Oh, something else. Wait a minute. I'm going to go do this over here. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Let me go do this over here. So being an interactive person, sometimes you have too much energy almost for your own good. So you have to do more activities to help you stay more focused and more on point of what you want to accomplish. Again, it's a continuum. It's a range. Everybody's not all high, gregarious and inspiring, enthusiastic. Some people may be more reflective, a matter of fact. So when you take the flight assessment, we call it flight because we put the analysis of the airplane ride. You got your captain, right? The pilot. He is the decisive person. You have your interactive person. We want to make sure that your needs are met. Do you have enough coffee? Do you want some more water? Is your seat, is the temperature good? You are more concerned about the person and how they are feeling and what, not just happy, oh, but have a good time. That's not all that. Don't make it so flighty, okay? It is more, I'm concerned, are you all right? So that's
Gotcha.
interactive. Mhm.
I love it. I love it. So now explain stability. That's the S. How can you tend to pace things in your environment?
Yes. Some things like some people with a stabilizing keyword, stabilizing, right? And so things are stable, they're more calm, they're more reserved. They like to take it point at a point at a point. Okay. Don't come at me like, okay, how many seconds you got to get going? What? No, I need time to analyze it. I need time to focus. I need to determine what's my best next steps. That's a stabilizer. Again, it's a range because some people are high in that number. So they are more patient. They're more predictable. Okay. They're also more complacent, stable, consistent. But also you can still have that same trait. We all have all four. Because in my case, I'm a stabilizer, but I'm more steady and outgoing when I'm in my natural calm state. If I feel like I'm being observed, people's looking at me, watching me, then I tend to get more restless and more active, and then I don't function as well. Okay, so it's that pace of the environment that works for you so that you can show your best foot forward.
I love it. I love it. So now share the conscientious caution.
Yeah. We like procedures. Step one, step two, step three. We like protocols. You're a nurse. I'm presuming you like procedures. You like protocols.
Not
You like a
necessarily.
system in place. Oh, not necessarily? Oh, okay. Don't let me make assumption.
I think that it is. I think that, in the past, like when you like in the emergency department, right? I
Mhm.
like the procedures, but the reality is that because the human body is so complex, right? So of course, I've got my DNP. So the difference between the DNP and the PhD in nursing is that the PhD, you do the research. DNPs, we push the research into practice, right? And so we have to develop those procedures and processes in order to push it into practice. And so, and sometimes you got to think off the cuff, right? Like you
Mhm.
don't go towards caution. You think off the cuff and you do what's best in the moment for that patient, which is not always, the policies and procedures are not always relevant. Now, do you do what's safe for the patient all the time, right? You
Mhm.
have to, pull that in. But I think thinking outside the box is where my personality type lies a lot.
Gotcha. So you resonate more with more problem solving, decisiveness, and you're caring about, hence your nurse, you're caring about the person. How are you doing? Are you well? Are you in pain? Are you having discomfort? So you're high in those are your main prominent areas. Is that
Right.
correct?
That's
Okay.
correct. That's
Okay.
correct. But then tell me now, because I'm curious, how do they work with each other? Because like I've seen some, because you're higher in some. So say for instance you were a D. How do you work with someone who's a C?
See, a decisive person's like, okay, I gave you the plan, let's go. And I mean, you got it. I told you what we want to do. We want to go to point A. We're going to go to point B. Got it. Let's move. And you're a controller, like, whoa, 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 whoa. How are we getting to point A to C? Are we going north? Then we're going to turn right. Then we're going around the curve. You're like, no, no, no. What is the problem? I told you what we're doing. That was very clear to me. And the controller, like, no, that's not clear to me. You didn't tell me nothing. We going to California. Are we going on the bus? Are we flying? We take the helicopter. What we doing? What day are we going? What time are we going? And what we have the right bags for what we're trying to accomplish. And it is like, oh my God, I can't stand work at times. You always ask all these questions. I'm trying to get the job done. He's turned out all these particulars. Who cares about all these particulars? Just get it done. That's the difference.
But you have to know that you are one or the other so that you can understand that that other person is working in their natural personality and not working against you per se, right?
Exactly. That's where we were talking earlier about wearing your feelings on your sleeves. Sometimes we need to put our needs on our sleeves. Wouldn't that be great if it said on my left side, I need to be reassured. So when you see me like, oh, she likes to be reassured. So I want to say, Dr. Viola, now you know you're wearing that hair. Go on, girl, with your bad self. Okay, but you just gave them a little pump, a step in their walk, right? You just gave them a little energy. That's why sometimes just giving somebody a smile, like good morning, and they may be feeling down, they may be more interactive. They may need that outside. That's when people are interactive, and we all are. It's just a matter of how much. I want to make sure that's clear. Then that knows how much of a support of accolades I may need. I may do a good job, and you may even think you do a good job. But at the same time, nobody else acknowledged you did a job. I thought I did a good job. Ain't nobody said nothing to me to tell me I did good. My goodness, all the work I done did. Then you go down this alley, all this work you done did, and ain't nobody gonna acknowledge me and say I done did anything. See, so the more you recognize the needs of the people who are around you for them, it's about, you know how you have Maslow, the hierarchy of needs, right?
Right.
Do they feel safe? Do they feel comfortable? Do they have shelter, right? Do they have security? Do they feel self-assured? Okay. Then you get to the point that you're in your self-awareness. Okay, where are you in that continuum? It's the same thing. People just need their needs met. I have that decisive trait and I'm more strong in that. I need that independence. You can't be telling me what to do. Step one, step two, step three, because I take offense to that. It's like, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me each step. I had to understand that because I tend to like high quality. I tend to like procedures, but at the same time, I like to interact with people and good, but I'm still decisive. I'm just more inquisitive about it. I want to learn about it. I want to get understanding about it, right? So when someone who's more like get it done, demanding, more forceful, and I come along and I say, okay, I want you to, I just did it yesterday. Met a contractor on one of my properties. It's like, okay, let's go over the East Charleston to her. Need some issues to solve. It's like, okay, well, how are you going to do that? He's looking at me like, no, I want to understand. Are you going to overlap it? He's like, of course I'm going to overlap it. You can't have that because I'm going to have a leak. I'm just checking. Okay, well, you're going to make sure you put the caulk in there, but the kind that is actually made for exterior and it's so I don't have a leak. It's like, yes, I'm going to. So the more questions I'm asking him, the more frustrated he's getting because he knows he knows.
Right. Right. I get that for sure. So now, do we modify if we are feeling relaxed, natural, and true to yourself, or when you are being observed yourself and aware of that you're being observed, basically?
Okay. So that you can know your power within you, you need to realize how you are when you are being observed. You need to understand you. That's the power within. When you understand your own needs and you understand how you are when you're just feeling comfortable and you feeling your environment is good and everybody's working well with you and everybody's, all right, copacetic, that's well. But if you feel like being observed, and for you, when you're being observed, some people, they're on. Observe them and they just take it to another level. Some other people get agitated and like, what's the word I want to say? You can't come up with the words. So you need to understand how you portray what is your behavior style when you are being observed,
And
when you
that's
are being watched.
and that's your adaptive state, correct?
Yes, that is the definition of the adaptive state. Because I find myself, okay, remember, I'm decisive, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody is. I'm more inquisitive. I'm checking to see, kind of figuring it out. That's how I handle projects. Okay. But when I'm being watched, I tend to go in competitive mode. That's just naturally who I am, especially if I'm around other my peers who have that same skill set. So I tend to go in that competition and like, okay, I show to make sure, look, I know what I'm talking about. Don't think I don't know. I may be enthusiastic. I may be energized. I may want to be hearing how you doing, but don't take that I don't know what I'm doing. So I switch. Okay. It's good to know that. So when I find myself in that adaptive stage, I'm like, okay, this is not the time to compete. We're all here in a team. So you can check yourself. Because when you can check yourself, then you can modify, you can adapt and try to get yourself back to like, look, this isn't a competition. We're here to get a project done. Relax. Now you can be inquisitive, ask the correct questions so that you can get whatever the job is completed well in compliments of each other, not in competing and competition of each other.
Now that adaptive state, you can't stay in that adaptive state for too long, can you?
Because if you do, you get stressed. It's too much. It's like, okay, we're doing too much now. It's like, it's just too much. You're not made. We are, think of it like a deer, right? A deer is calm, it's relaxed, it's laying by the river, it's whatever. Okay, when a lion's chasing him, that deer is in his adaptive state, correct? So
Mm-hmm.
now you're in your fight. Now you're in your flight. Now you're kicking off all that cortisol. Now your heart is racing. Now your digestive system is shutting down. Now your immune system is calming down, right? Because it's like, I ain't got time to be worried about immunity and make sure I'm safe. I'm trying to be alive. I got to go. You cannot continue to be in that state all the time because it's stressful. You're doing yourself harm.
I
That's
think
it. Go ahead.
I,
I'm sorry.
no, I think that is, with the emergency department nursing, I think that's one of the reasons why, because the lifespan of an ER nurse is about 5 years. And that's the same way for CCU nurses. It's the same way for dialysis nurses, and it's the same way for hospice nurses. And I think that they're in their adaptive state a large portion of the time because they're in fight or flight, right? Trying to make sure that the patient is saved. And that's the reason why it takes them so long. But so understanding that, especially as a nurse, is huge, huge, huge. And, I wish that I'd, known, because, I'm going to get it done. Right. So I'm not, saying the minutia of, because I've heard about disc assessment for a long time, but I was like, look, if it does not help me put an IV, if it does not help me put in a Foley catheter, if it does not help me put in an NG tube, then I'm going to need for you to keep that over there on your side of the fence, and I'm good over here.
But guess what? It does.
It does.
That's the whole point. It helps you get in that IV because if you have someone who needs to feel comforted and you come down like, okay, give me your arm. Come on, let me poke this in you. They like, so now they moving, they jerking on you, right? So they're not cooperating with you because you've made them very uncomfortable. So that's where it does. It actually does help you interact with people. It does help you solve the problems. It helps you to even know thyself so you can be true to yourself, so you can stay in your natural state, so that you are able to take the modifications of somebody else, as well as it helps you to be sensitive to what that person needs. You get around that person, you're like, okay. All right. And you just smile because now you know what their need is. So I had a manager, right? Like most people do. He was one that is more decisive, right? He's more focused. He wants point one, point two, and point three. So I don't come in here like, how are you? I come in initially for 2 seconds. Good morning. How are you doing today, John? Great. How are you? Oh, wonderful. Da 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 da. Okay, great. It's like, okay, that's done. And he'll do that, the communicative thing because he's also interactive, right? No one is just one thing. That's so important because sometimes we just so pigeonholed and we do people a disservice by thinking you're just that. You're not just a nurse. You're a nurse. You're a mom. You're a friend. You're a coworker. You're not just one thing. So don't put people in that spot, right? Because then they can't work to all of their assets. So all of their talents are shown. But when I knew this, right? So when I came in there, it was more like point one, point number two, point number three. This is what I want us to get accomplished. This is why we want to get it done. It was a great day in the neighborhood. One day I was frustrated. Okay, and I'm like, well, da 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 da. And he's looking at me. He let me finish. He's like, okay, you're done with your theatrics now? It's like they don't receive that because they're not that interactive. He doesn't have that kind of interactive where like he's going to console. Oh, you're not okay. I'm so sorry. That's not that personality to that level, right? So therefore, when you know that, you can interact your own self because see, that's key. You have your 4 behaviors. Everybody does. There is nobody on this planet that does. But compartmentalize them a little bit. When I'm dealing with a project, I know I'm inquisitive. So then I'm dealing with the project. Be inquisitive. Whatever that project might be, it doesn't have to be work. It could be cooking big dinner. It could be anything. It could be redoing a house. You know how I go with, it's amazing. The example is you base it off of your life, right? I cook, I do houses, all that's what comes up. So, but I know I'm dealing with the project. So since I tend to be more anxious, and when I rush too much beyond where I feel comfortable, I'm like, wait a minute. You're trying to handle a project. Don't worry about the speed right now. Just focus on being inquisitive so you can find out what's the steps, so you can determine what the need is, so you can accomplish it and fulfill that need. Okay. So, but if I'm interacting like, look, Trisha, you're enthusiastic. You want to make sure that person's good. You want to give that person energy. You want to help that person push and get empowered. That's who you are. So you don't have to worry about the project. This isn't a project right now. You're interacting with someone. Be in your natural state and interact and put your gift and talent that's already given in you. You don't have to create that. It's in you. That's where you already have it. How would your life be if every day you created your environment, your interactions with people, where you are in your natural state, doing your natural gift, talent that's already in you every day? Wow, whew, you can have a good day.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. So now, switching gears, do you use this with when coaching families and organizations? Because it is definitely key for sure.
It is key. It is so key because as you interact with them, you understand what their need is. So now you can fulfill that need because if you're dealing with a family and you have that interaction, you help them understand their need and that other person's need, especially if you're caring for them, you're providing support for them. Well, maybe they don't need you to tell them step by step. Maybe they don't need you to try to take over. That's not their personality. That's not their behavior trait. So therefore you are putting them in the adaptive state. So now they're adapting. Now they're turning on whatever that is. And sometimes that adaptive state is a big difference. And sometimes it's a little one. The closer you are between your natural and adaptive state, that's more solid you are and foundation of yourself. Okay. But the more disparity you have between your adaptive and your natural state, that's maybe an area like, okay, I need to work on that. So I just don't flip. You're not a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. People don't do well with that kind of transformation.
And and I think it's key. So the adaptive is how you show up whenever you're on stage per se, and then the natural is however you show up as how you naturally are. And so making sure that those two are more in line with each other is key, is what you're saying,
It
right?
is. It is. And it's okay to modify some, but it shouldn't be a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was like, oh my gosh, who is Dr. Viola? She was just as caring, and she just tore
Should have
her hair.
flipped her wig.
And you're like, oh my goodness. Woo, okay. Now I'm scared of you because or I know, but again, it's knowing, right? So I know she can flip her wig. So I have to, but see, now I'm coming in at you knowing, right? So I know I need to stay a kind of certain lane because I need to stay there so you don't change so abruptly in such a vast chasm. So I know how I need to be, but that's still good. See, that's how it empowers you. I know this is how Dr. Viola may be, well, that's not who you are, but someone else may be. So I know how to present myself so that I'm in a good state. And then whatever interaction we're having, whatever job we're trying to complete, whatever task we're trying to make, whatever connection we're trying to make, then we can have it because I know I have an understanding of what your need is. And as long as you meet people's needs, they are comfortable.
I love it. So, it brings me back to a time when I was talking to a young lady. So I walked in the room and she had not been taking a blood pressure medicine. And there were, I just seen so many people just really, really struggling because, they'd had strokes because they had so many devastating things that happened in their lives because of their high blood pressure. And I remember walking into the room, and I did this regularly up until this young lady. I would
Mm-hmm.
walk into the room and I'd be like, if you don't take your blood pressure medicine, you're going to have a stroke. Okay.
Ooh, ooh.
If you don't take your blood pressure medicine, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to do this. And I remember specifically walking into the rooms, and I remember being very poignant, just to the point. And then as the visit went on, of course, I was my who I am and the natural of who I am, that connective, right? And she said to me, she said, when you first walked in this room, I thought that you were me. She said, but now she said, I know that you're not. And I said, I am not. But I flipped that wig, and it helped me to understand that I needed to cater to her needs instead of catering to what I felt like she needed.
Right.
So I
That's
love that.
key. Oh, that's excellent, Dr. Viola. Understanding to cater to the person's need. That's when you have on the screen when your mom has dementia. When someone has an impairment, right? And you know they have an impairment. If you do not have that impairment, then now you can cater to theirs. So there was a family that had their mom actually had dementia, and she had Alzheimer's in this particular case. And we were talking, and he was saying that's not going to be a problem because they would switch between the two sister and brother. They would switch as in taking care. And says, "Oh, I'm not going to have any problem with my mom. I'm just going to lay the law. I'm going to let her understand. This is what we're going to do. We're doing this in the morning. We're going to put down a solid schedule, which is important to have a schedule, but that don't mean it's going to be 9:30 and this is what's going to happen if you have dementia. You don't know how your spirit is at 9:30 if you're going to get up and do such and such. And that's almost anybody. That's what we have to realize. Dementia, people with dementia who have that issue and that challenge that they're working through, all those filters are gone. We always were who we were. We just covered it well. That's all that is. When you're well in your mind, right, and your brain's functions are working properly, you know it's not going to be good for you to act a fool. So you do not. Let's be real. But now you have dementia. I can act a fool.
That's right.
Like children, right? Children do not have any filters.
Right.
So it's like, but that is really ugly on you. It's like, you don't say that to her. But maybe that's what's true. But you don't say that to her unless she asks you. You can sugarcoat it and say that to her, right? So it's the same thing. So I had to share with him, look, there's a brain impairment. They're not able to modify or adjust. Oh, that's too sweet. I love that. Excuse me, where's mine? Oh, I guess I don't have one. Okay. Sorry. That would sound like a nice morning. But anyway.
You are so funny. So So your mom had dementia, and so you had to use sort of these tactics
Yes.
in order to deal with her. So how did you first know that she had dementia? Like, how did you?
A little off. Things that she would say, it's like, that's different. And you kind of bypass it, just having an off day or little frustrated. My mom, when she's angry, she doesn't blow up, but she has a laser eye that, ooh wee, you know, to straighten up and fly right. Well, one time our next door neighbor had a dog that would allow to take our yard as being the dumping ground, and she'd had a little too much. The lady was outside, and my mom went off on her. I had to go outside, Mom, and I had to go grab. I'm like, I was scared for that woman. She might have got hurt, and that's not my mom. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And my sister noticed different things as well. So we went to the doctor. That's key. If you're noticing something's awry, go early. It's not a death sentence. It just allows you to prepare and support your body, your brain, give it the right foods, give it the right supplements, do the exercising, do the things that your brain needs, and that will slow down the process. And that was what I feel the blessing was with my mom. We knew early. So she had a very slow progression because we put a lot of things in place for her, and we brought joy every day. It wasn't about drama and stress, because we know no matter if you have dementia or anything else, that doesn't do well for you. So it doesn't do well with someone with dementia.
So what are some of the things that you put into place?
Okay. One, music therapy is key because our brain lights up with music. It really does. And you get to know that person, you know what kind of music works best for them. So therefore you put that on, because then they're energized. Now they have a spirit of joy. Now they're comfortable. Now they're in their natural state. Now they're feeling relaxed. Now everything's going well. The other thing was food supplements. Food as a supplement, brain food, your berries, raspberry, blueberries, strawberries, because that gives all those good nutrients that the brain needs to be healthy. The fish, the omega-3s, your salmon, okay? Put those different foods together. And she enjoyed them, which was your greens, the old school, eat your vegetables and fruits so you can be well. We just implemented the old school thought process because it's the best thing for your brain. And that gave her the nutrients that the brain needed so that she could do well. We complemented what the doctor gave her by giving her supplements. Coenzyme Q10, excellent for the brain. B complex for your whole spirit and energizing you. Okay, vitamin E, so your blood cells almost are orally, so they can flow through your body well. All the different vitamin C, vitamin D3. They're knowing now when they go through and do the autopsies that people's brains, they're loose, or excuse me, they are low in vitamin D3. Okay, so they're learning, and then they're also realizing now it's almost a third type of way of diabetes for the brain. They understand the insulin resistance is going on. So we gave supplements that help the brain to reduce the inflammation that's in the body, and the supplements to increase the blood flow, because those are the main two things. You have low inflammation and you have good blood flow, you have a reduced chance of that process continuing fast, but it slows down the journey. And most people don't know who you are at the end of their journey in their life. My mom knew who I was all the way up to her death. My mother had heels on. I mean, heels on up until 2 years of her life. Heels. We was coming out of church, I mean heels, I'm not, but, and she wasn't stumbling either. She was wearing her clothes and wearing her, carrying herself. I'm trying to catch her to help her, right? Because she's the one that has dementia. Please, I'm about to fall and break my derriere. And she going down the stairs just to study. And I'm like, well, who's got the problem here? So sometimes you have to remember, you are just there to support her as almost, or if you have a sore hand or you broke your arm, right? Then you say, oh, can you help me get this? Because I can't do this with my right hand. Think of it that way. You're just supporting that person in the areas that they need assistance. Not that you're taking over. I didn't ask you to take over. I just said, I can't lift this with my right hand. Can you please pick that up for me? Thank you. I didn't say now take over this and take over that and act like I don't have a brain at all. That's not what I said. So think of it when someone has dementia, there's stages of it, especially in the early and that mid stage. They are very aware of who they are. So when I used to bring caregivers in to support and help me and help her, one brother, she's like, I'm in my house. I don't know that person. So you say, hey, no, that's a good friend of mine. I was telling them about you. And they said, oh, wow, I would love to help your mom. I went, oh, great. So I told her that, Mom, she's a friend of mine. She's here to help. You done did all this work. How many years have you worked? A long time. Aren't you tired? Yes, I am. Well, look, I'm bringing you help. You tell them what you need to get done. You don't feel like washing them dishes. You tell them, go in there and wash them dishes.
I
You don't
love
feel
it.
like running the sweeper. You tell them to run that sweeper. See, now the person's coming in, not that they're taking over, they're there to support in the way that she needs. Now she's in her natural state. She's comfortable. There's no bunch of fighting. And that did happen, not literal fighting. A lady came in, got up and I was like, I don't have dementia. I'm like, what are you doing? She just got up, took the dishes, went in the kitchen. My mother's like, excuse me, where you think you're going? I almost said the same thing. Like, she has dementia. She has an area where she needs support. That doesn't mean you come in and take over somebody's home.
Gotcha. Oh, about to
That,
sneeze. So now, how can the audience find you?
dementiaempowerment.com. Trish, that's my name, at dementiaempowerment.com. So if you need support, you have a mom, a dad, or you're in an organization where you're working with people with dementia and you want to have a better life with that, to live the best life that they can, to live the best life you can, then you look at Trish at dementiaempowerment.com. If you don't have that kind of impairment and you need help on just to have the best life that you can have for you, then you do Trish at Gain Better Life. It is what you want. If you need empowerment with dementia, dementiaempowerment.com. You want to gain better life, it's at gainbetterlife.com.
I love it.
It's like, what do you want, right? Knowing what you want, have
Half the battle. That's exactly right. So thank you, Trisha. This has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. You are just a wealth of knowledge, and I love it. So now we will be starting another cohort of VP Nursing Business Academy in October. It is a 6-month comprehensive program that leads nurses and coaches working from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. If this interests you, we can jump on a call so that you are able to gain clarity on how to create multiple streams of income. You can sign up at V as in Victor, P as in Paul, nursing.com. I ask that you like and share this podcast. And just know that Morning in Vision with Dr. V is where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders such as Trisha that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You guys have a phenomenal rest of your day.